Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, July 6, 2026, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen, which is a Dutch word for my creative adventures from this week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. You can watch them both with subtitles if you want to, and if you miss subtitles in a specific language, please let me know and I will check if I can add them afterwards. Okay, I am filming in my backyard again, and that's also the reason why I speak a little bit different than I normally do. Much softer and maybe a little less enthusiastic than I normally do, but that's really because I feel a little bit uncomfortable by making a lot of noise. We have houses in a row, which also means backyards in a row, and there might be a chance one of my neighbors is having their Monday morning coffee in the backyard, and the idea that they can hear me talk in English. Don't think about it, Sarah. But again, it is a little bit of a challenge to film my episodes these days for several reasons. My kids already have school holidays, summer holidays, school already ended, so it's busy in the house, and because of the weather, not all my normal filming spots are available because of the sun or the temperature. It is not as warm as it was 2 weeks ago. It is actually pretty nice summer weather today, and the last few days it will be warmer end of the week. Last week I skipped my Monday episode. One of my viewers of the HeartJumping Friday episodes called it heat exhaustion, and I really struggled with it. I have never had it before. It was actually pretty weird. My whole body and mind were confused because of the heat, I guess. I heard a lot of other people struggling with the same things, and of course that was not nice for them, but I was actually a little bit relieved that I was not the only one, because it was pretty weird. But I'm okay again right now, and I really am looking forward to have a little chat. It will be my last one because next week our summer holiday will start and I will have a summer break for a few weeks with no episodes. I will talk a little bit more about that at the end of this episode. Today I will mainly share about what I'm wearing because I'm really excited about it. I have a new knit, I have a test knit, and maybe I can share a little bit about the things I use as background items. It is pretty early in the morning. I already had my morning coffee, but still. And I have a new mic. I am completely influenced, or actually I prefer the term inspired, by Sandra. An Icelandic podcaster, an Icelandic knitter and podcaster. I was watching her latest YouTube episode last week. I really love her podcast. She always starts with some musing, and I think that's so inspiring. I love musing myself as well, and the way she films, you can see her knitting, drinking coffee, and being around in her house a little bit. And with a voiceover, she muses, and then the second part of her podcast episode is sharing her finished objects and works in progress, yarn. I really love Sandra's podcast, so I will link her down below. But she totally inspired me for this little tiny mic. She was showing a skirt she had sewn, and I could see her mic attached, and I already knew that this thing exists. It's called a lavalier, I guess, I already noticed it, but I never had the desire to buy it because I didn't like my mics. I only had my mics because they came with my camera, but since I'm practicing filming in the wild, my mics are really necessary. They are necessary for the sound quality. I know a lot of you prefer the sound quality also for filming inside. I read all the comments. I hear you, but I don't know. But okay, it's okay. I'm practicing with it, and I was inspired by Sofnit's daily using the mic, and it gave me some confidence to hold my mic for filming in the wild. But when I saw Sandra's lavalier, I suddenly realized I need that thing myself as well. So it is actually, oh, I am wearing a skirt. This is a little magnet, and at the inside of my skirt I have the ugly mic, and with a little cable to this tiny black dot. I still cannot avoid the look of the mic completely, but it's much better than the big thing right there. So we are improving. Now let's improve my skills. Maybe one day I can talk just as enthusiastic as I normally do, sitting outside, feeling comfortable no matter what. Yeah. I am wearing my Wanderbloom Vest. It's a pattern by Ronja Hakalehto, the Finnish knitting designer. I did a test knit for her. The pattern is not out yet. I thought the test knit was running until the 4th of July, but it's actually the 8th of July. So I expect the pattern will be released this weekend, end of the week, pretty soon. But I already want to show you my version and to tell you everything about it, because this is my last episode before we will leave on holiday, and then it will take a few weeks. And I am so excited about this pattern. The moment I saw Ronja sharing a picture of this upcoming pattern, upcoming design, I fell in love with it. She made it in brown herself. That's my favorite color. I really love vests at the moment. I think they are such versatile garments which you can combine. For example, I test knitted the wildflower top a few weeks ago, and a lot of people did let me know that they loved the design, but they were not feeling comfortable by wearing a top. And this is actually the perfect solution for that, because you can wear it with a short sleeve under it, a long sleeve under it, or a tank top under it. You need to wear something under it, although when you can also wear it over your bikini or whatever. Yeah, so I think when you do want to knit a summer top item, but you are comfortable with wearing sleeves under it, it might be perfect. This was such a fun knit. It's an all-over lace cardigan. I will insert some footage so you can see it completely. It's knitted top down. You start at the back panel knitting, do some increases for the armholes, then you pick up stitches for the front panels. Be aware you pick up stitches right. It took me a while, I don't know if I can show it, I don't think so, to pick up the stitches that way that the pattern will go over your shoulder very well. I think one of my girls is coming. She needs to go to her job. It took me some tries, but I'm really happy that the pattern runs over the shoulder in the same I think this is the place where I picked up the stitches, and it's really nice when the pattern runs over your shoulder. So yeah, you need to be aware that the middle of your stitches is in the middle of the chart repeat. I don't know if it makes sense, but it took me some tries. Then you do some increases for the V-shaped neckline and also some increases for the armhole, and at some point you start knitting back and forth. It's all over lace, all over the same pattern. It's absolutely not a complicated lace pattern. I did divide my stitches with stitch markers because, especially when the pattern is not very complicated, I have a bigger chance to make mistakes. So it was really fun. I did make mistakes, the same as I do with cables. I can fix my mistakes afterwards. In the beginning I forgot to check, but at some point I thought, okay, every time I finished a chart repeat, I check the chart if I didn't make a mistake, and if I did, I can fix it. I use DPNs for that. I just drop all the stitches from a specific chart repeat and then fix them. I noticed some big holes at my back, which is a fixed mistake, but the yarn overs are a little bit bigger than they should be. I made a big mistake in a very obvious place. And last Saturday I was wearing it for the first time. No, not for the first time, for the second time. I was with knitting friends in the yarn shop, and normally one of the things a lot of knitters, a lot of crocheters always do is when someone is telling you, oh, you're wearing something nice. Oh yeah, but I made a mistake. That's something I do. And not even because I feel embarrassed or ashamed. I'm okay with the mistake. I feel confident about it, it's okay, but still we are pointing out the mistakes immediately. So I thought, let's do a little challenge, Sarah. Don't mention your mistake. I didn't mention it to anyone and no one noticed. And it is on a very obvious spot, so I will show it to you. It is, oh, I need to check it myself. It is right here. It was on my breast. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. It's so obvious I can't find it. Oh, here, I think. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. It is there. At a very obvious spot. But on the other way, when people are watching for a longer time to that spot, they feel embarrassed as well, I think, so it's okay. I made a mistake. I think I knitted 2 of the same rows of the chart instead of doing the row that I should do. So the yarn overs were not in place, and also I love how the slip stitches, the slip knits and the knits 2 together are running. So what I did do is, with an extra strand of yarn, I did do some embroidered stitches over it to fix it a little bit. And I was not sure how it would look afterwards, but after blocking I can't even find it when I'm wearing it, so it's okay, it's okay. It was a disappointment when I found the mistake, especially because I thought I checked them, but it's okay. I followed the pattern exactly, and I'm really happy with the length and with the fit. I must confess, I was struggling with getting gauge, and it has all to do with the plant fiber yarns. I knitted this one in Drops Bell again. This is color 28, which is called Cookie Dough. I was really doubting about knitting it in dark brown because that's my favorite color, and I really loved the dark brown vest Ronja knitted, but I also really love the excitement of seeing how a design looks in a completely different color. So that's the main reason why I didn't pick brown yarn, but the Cookie Dough color. I am really happy with it. I think it's a nice summer color. Drops Bell is a cotton linen viscose mix, and I did get gauge when I was swatching, but when I was knitting, my gauge was off, and the same happened with my wildflower top. The blocking process does do something with it. When I was measuring right after blocking, I really thought, what is this? It's so small. But after wearing it for an hour, it stretched out. So yeah, I don't know. Normally I'm not really how do I say it? Normally I'm not so focused on the measuring part. I am not a swatcher. I do it intuitive. I look when I start knitting, especially when you start knitting in the back, how my fabric looks, how the measurement looks a little bit, but it's not very detailed. But when I'm doing a test knit, I am a swatcher and I want to do it right, because that's important information for the designer. So with my wildflower top and with my Wanderbloom vest, I had gauge after swatching, but when I knitted the big garment, the big piece, my gauge was off a little bit. I made notes in my knitting book. Here's my page. Let's see. I started this project on June 10, 2026, and I finished it on June 27, 2026. So it's a pretty quick knit, although it is all over lace, so it's not that you can speed up while you're knitting stockinette or something, but still it was a hyper-focused project. And every time I do a test knit for Ronja, this was my second, so temperatures are rising above 30 degrees, so I need to be a little bit careful with applying for her test knits, because I don't like it when temperatures are above 30 degrees. I knitted size 2, which should give me a bust circumference of 100 centimeters, which is 10 centimeters of positive ease for me, and if I remember correctly, a recommended positive ease was between 5 and 15 centimeters. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the pattern with me right now. My final measurement is 95 centimeter, and that's actually better than the 100 centimeters I should have, because yeah, 5 centimeters of positive ease suits me better. Other way it would be too big. The gauge is one chart repeat should be 6 centimeters, and my after wearing it for a while is 5.5 centimeters, so it's not a big difference, but it is 5 centimeters difference in the bust circumference. I really think it's so hard to measure it correctly, because when I lay it flat, I have different measurements than when I spread it open. Yeah, and as I said, normally I don't do those things so detailed, but because it's a test knit, I really want to collect good information for the designer. But it's a little bit of a challenge for me. But the fit is perfect. I wouldn't have it different. Let's see, I used 167 grams of drop spell, which is a DK / worsted weight yarn. I think it has, it's not in my note, I think it has 130 meters on the 50 gram ball. So I only needed 4 balls. That's really not much for a summer garment, so that's really lovely. Let's see my notes. What I did do was Portuguese knitting, and I absolutely loved it. I am a combination knitter, so I am a continental combination knitter. So I knit my knit stitches continental, and my purl stitches, I don't know the specific name for it, Russian purl, the granny purl, but because my tension while purling can be quite loose, I learned that way of purling. The only thing is that my stitches are being twisted. So when you are knitting, the next row or the next round, your purl stitches are twisted. And that's not a problem normally, because you just insert your needle in the other leg and then it's okay. But when you are knitting lace, it can be a challenge, because with all the slip knits and the knits two together, it's very important your stitches are not twisted. So when there's a lot of lace involved, I don't want to use this purl stitch. But when I just purl continental, my tension is a little bit loose. And last week I saw a Dutch yarn shop owner. Her name is Alexandra and her yarn shop is called Rebel with a Twist, sharing in her stories on Instagram that she always used the Portuguese way of knitting for her purl stitches. And that reminds me, I can do that as well. I once practiced Portuguese knitting with knitting a sock, a Rosa Pomar pattern a few years ago, the Montemuro socks, and I really love the way of purling, mainly the way of purling. The knit stitches, it's okay, but I prefer the Portuguese purling way. That was the solution for my twisted stitches issue. So because this is a vest, you knit back and forth, and my right side stitches, I just do normal continental knit stitches and yarn overs and slip knits and knits two togethers, and the wrong side I do the Portuguese way of purling, and every now and then there is a Portuguese knit stitch involved, and it really was a nice way of knitting. So I'm actually doing it for my next project as well. That's really nice. Let's see if I have more. Oh yeah, the knit 2 purl 1 ribbing at the bottom. What I normally do when I do a ribbing, you pick up stitches, you end your body part with rib stitches, and then you pick up stitches for the button band, although it's not really a button band because there are no buttons, and your first knit stitch always disappears because that's your pickup stitch. So what I normally do is knit 2 and then start knit 1 purl 1, but that was not in the pattern and I was doubting about what to do, and I chose to follow the pattern, and it's really important you do that, because this way you have a purl stitch as the first stitch, and normally I don't really love the look of it, but this way your stitches are just the stitch column of the lace pattern is running through the ribbing, and that's really a nice detail and you really want that, so don't try to think yourself as I did. Then last but not least, what I quite often do for my armhole ribbing stitches is knit some stitches together in the bind off. I knitted quite some vests since last year, and I noticed pretty often the stitches at my underarm were standing a little bit off and I didn't like the look of it. So what I do now is knit the 5, or actually the 10, make 5, knit 2 together. So knit together the first 10 stitches and bind them off. So you knit 2 together, knit 2 together, and then bind off as you normally do, and also with the last 10. So the first and the last 10 stitches at my underarm hole are decreased as well. So that makes this pretty tight and nice and neat and not standing out. And I used that method, which I made up myself, for quite a few times right now, and it actually works pretty good. Yeah, what do I need to say more? I think I told you everything. Maybe a last suggestion about the I-cords. You make those I-cords for a little tie, which I really love. It's such a cute detail. I absolutely recommend knitting I-cord on deep ends. It's way more easy than knitting it on a normal circular needle, because you have to transfer your stitches from one needle to another, and when you knit on deep ends you can just transfer them to the other side of the needle. It's so much more quicker and satisfying to do. So yeah, I absolutely recommend this pattern. I will bring yarn with me on our summer holiday trip to make another one. I'm pretty sure it will be dark green, again drop spell, and I absolutely want one for autumn and winter in a woolly yarn as well, but I haven't thought about that. So again, I think the pattern will be released pretty soon, end of the week. You can check Ronja's Instagram when you want to be sure, and yeah, I absolutely recommend it. It's one of my favorite knits from the last years. I love everything about it. So yeah. Did I already mention I loved it? It's absolutely a heart-jumping knitting project. It's quick, it's nice, it's fun, it's not hard, it's perfect. When you have never knitted lace, you can knit this. Of course, you need to pay attention, but it's not complicated at all. I think you need to pay attention, but yeah, it is actually a pretty easy lace pattern. It looks complicated when you are not used to knitting lace, but knitting lace is not complicated. The word complicated is complicated. It's not complicated at all. It's just counting, keeping track of where you are, and then yeah, it will be okay. So I'm also wearing my skirt. It's one of my favorite skirts. It's my newest skirt. It's a Songbirdskirt in a lovely fabric I bought on Etsy. I think it was at Linen Graphy. Yeah, I really love wearing it, and I think I look very chic in this outfit. I went to a wedding last week in this outfit, and I was feeling pretty good with this one. Okay. I applied for a new test knit. I haven't done test knitting for quite a while. I did a lot of test knitting for Rebecca from the Creabea, and I really loved it. But then I got busier myself and I decided to quit test knitting. But yeah, since a few weeks I'm really into it. The deadline which is involved with test knitting, I really go good on that. So I don't know, I really love it. I'm really having fun. So I applied for a new test knit from a designer I actually didn't know. When it was so warm in the Netherlands 2 weeks ago, I was scrolling on Instagram, and I'm not really an Instagram scroller. I try to avoid that. I know a lot of beautiful things are shared on Instagram, but my head is so full with inspiration. I don't need inspiration, and I prefer to spend my time knitting or making content. So I use Instagram a lot for sharing content myself. But when it was so warm, I was scrolling and I really enjoyed it. It was too hot to do anything else. And suddenly a picture of a very cute, lovely vest popped up in my on my Instagram app, and it was a test knitter's call, and within a few minutes I applied. I didn't know the designer. Her name is Katharina. I only have the printed version. Her name is Katharina von Blumenthal, I guess, and this is the pattern. It's a black and white print. The Ziggy Cardigan. She made a white and blue one and a purple and orange one, and again it is a little bit the same construction as this cardigan, and also as my Happy Granny vest from my friend Lonneke, which is a crochet pattern, and I really love the fit of those vests. This one has short sleeves, and I love the zigzag and the stripes, so I applied and I am allowed to join the test knit. So I swatched again. I felt really inspired to be a little bit adventurous by picking my colors, and in the beginning I thought I was looking for Dropspel again because I want a summer version of it. It's a DK weight pattern, and I thought let's do some brown and pink, and although I love the color combination, something was missing, so I thought I have some cookie dough left, and I thought let's do some brown cookie dough pink, and I love the color combination, but then I realized, do you also love to wear it? In my knitting life there can be a difference between what I like to work with and what I like to wear. This little cardigan in pink and cookie dough and brown, I don't know, it would look adorable. It would be the perfect color combination for this pattern, but it would not be something I would grab quite often. I really am into the black and the browns and the neutrals. Yeah, so I swatched further, and then I came with 2 shades of brown and 1 of black, and then I thought, okay, this is it. I know a lot of people think that's boring, or every now and then I receive comments, why are you always wearing such boring colors? Yeah, I don't think they are boring at all, but I understand what people are meaning. But I think it's important you feel good in what you wear. I think it's very nice. Not everyone likes the same colors, because that would be boring. But my preferences are really there. I really feel the best in earthy, dark colors. It does do something with my confidence. And this is also okay, but there's black and brown involved. So I don't know why. It has been this way for quite a while. I used to wear more brighter colors as well, and I think I would love to add a pop of color. But for this vest I'm really happy with this color combination. I already started, and it's really a lovely knit. It's again the same construction, a top-down cardigan. You start at the back. I am knitting while keeping all balls attached. That makes it a little bit challenging for me because I'm a bit of a clumsy knitter. So when I'm sitting at my kitchen table having all the 3 balls attached, it's okay. It gave me a lot of frustration when I was knitting my, how it's called, my flock vest from Andrea Maury. But I think it will be better to not weave in all the yarn ends, especially with this plant fiber based yarn. So we will keep doing it. I need to bring it with me during our holidays, and that might be a challenge because it's not really a lap knitting project, but we shall see. I am really looking forward to work on this one. I also have a home camisole right here. This is a pattern by Caidree, and I cast it on last week, and I am knitting it around right now. This is what I meant. You do something interesting at the upper part, and then it will become an easy peasy, a little bit boring knitting project, which is actually perfect to have a few on your needles, because you can pick it up and knit during every circumstances, I guess. Without paying attention. Social knitting, telephone knitting, weight room knitting, television knitting, whatever, travel knitting. I really love it. So it's just knitting straight, add some ribbing, and then it will be finished. And I'm also finishing a lot of projects in the week before we will leave on holiday. It's very nice to clear my needles. And I'm also thinking about what to bring with me during our holiday. We have a 4-week trip, so it will be quite a while, but still, it doesn't make sense that in my head I think I can finish a dress and a camisole and a vest and a pair of socks and a headband and a Sophie scarf. Normally during holiday people might have extra knitting time. I think in my occasion it's the other way around. I might have less knitting time than I normally have, and that's okay because I have a lot of knitting time during my daily life. Yeah, we need to pack very minimal, so I don't know what I can bring with me. we shall see. I think it's very important when you go on holiday, you will check your knitting needs. I need easy peasy projects, and I also need something which is a little bit more challenging. So yeah, I have a few days to decide, and yeah, I'm excited to give you an update after my holiday. I will bring my camera. I will not upload anything on YouTube the coming weeks, but I think I will share on Instagram more during our holiday. I did do that last year. Normally I checked out of all my social media for a few weeks. I spent my holiday offline, and although I also really love doing that, last year I brought you with me on Instagram, and sharing on Instagram is really heart jumping for me. It's uplifting. I really love sharing. So I enjoyed bringing you with me on Instagram during our holiday so much. So I think I will do that again this year. Be aware it's not really a realistic view of our holiday because I never share my family on my social media. So yeah, of course it's a family holiday and you won't see anything of that. So it's not realistic, but still you can enjoy a little bit. Okay, I almost forgot to share a little bit about the items I use as some cozy backgroundness. This is my big heavy pillowcase. I was knitting the Coziest memory blanket a few years ago, but I noticed that I didn't really love the look of the blanket, especially the backside. I really don't like ugly backsides on blankets, and this one was ugly because I didn't do it as nice and neat as it should be. I think I was learning a little bit, so it was messy, and I don't like that for a blanket. So I decided to make it into a pillowcase, and that was the best decision ever because no ugly backsides. You can't see it. I really love it, and it's filled with all the leftovers, fabric leftovers, yarn leftovers, and it's really, really heavy, but it's a tight pillow, which is very nice to have in my bag when I'm sitting and knitting at the couch or at my orange chair. Yeah, it's really one of my favorite pillowcases, or actually one of my favorite pillows. Another pillow I have with me is this one. This is my granny square pillow, and it's made of cotton. Yeah, again, this is also one of my favorites. You just crochet a big granny square and you fold it around a squared pillowcase, and then I think I did crochet, no, I did sew them together. You sew them together, the seams, and I love the look of this. Of course, both pillowcases, they cannot be washed, although this one can go in the washing machine. This one not. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I have another pillowcase which is embroidered by myself. You have those kits in the Netherlands with the big embroider thread and the big embroider base, which the Dutch word is stramien, and you knit all the little crosses. It is the pattern is printed on the base. So it's really easy and it's really satisfying to create such a pillowcase. And I did sew a background. This one can be washed. And last but not least, I have a blanket which I'm sitting on. Oh, I'm sorry. Put it a little bit. This is a scrappy blanket which I made a few years ago with all the colors I actually didn't like and a few colors I do like. It was all yarn stash I want to crochet away. It was my plan to make a big one-person's bed blanket, but I was not feeling motivated, so I decided it could be vertical stripes, and then it was finished. And I really love the look of it, and especially also the size, because it's the perfect blanket to wrap around. It's not too big. Yeah, I really love it. Granny stripes are perfect to knit your scraps, to crochet your scraps away. Okay, so this was it for today. I wish you a wonderful summer. Maybe, I don't think it's summer everywhere. Maybe you are enjoying autumn or even winter. So I envy you a little bit as well. I wish you some wonderful weeks, and I will be back somewhere in August. Don't know exactly when, but you will see me appear on YouTube on a Monday in August, I guess. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I wish you a lovely week with a lot of heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, because we need them. Bye bye.